action up in double time. James analyzing every line. Paul's out of sync, but they don't care. Three minds tangled, but they're always there.
Hello and welcome to Seismic Cinema. I'm Colin. I've usually not seen it. Paul, our editors, watched it in the wrong order. And James?
I have probably written an essay on it.
He most definitely has. So welcome to the first in a little series we're going to start looking into the new season 7 of Black Mirror. So I've not actually watched really what's the word, on trend. I've not actually watched any of season 7 so far, apart from this episode for the review. So I'm looking forward to working through them over the next couple of weeks.
I'm the same, mate. I've not seen any of the new season, so I'm just kind of watching it as we review it, mate. So looking forward to it.
I think just from the top, so we don't have to do this every time we do it, just a wee bit about our history of Black Mirror. So we've got a bit of a shared history because it was the second time you collaborated with us before you joined the pod full time. We did our episode ranking.
That's right, mate. I was a big fan of Black Mirror, when it came on the TV and that. And then the first time I was on, it was Shutter Island, and then the second time I just did the top 10 top 10 Black Mirror episodes, I should say. That was good fun.
I was quite late to the game on it. The first episode I seen was San Junipero, which I actually did a review with Casting Views.
You did? Aye.
Yeah.
My favourite episode.
Casting Views is a general topic podcast about anything and everything. Sometimes informative, always entertaining. New episode every Sunday.
Nice ad.
Sorry, I just glitched there. Yeah, so I did that. You also did a Black Mirror episode, didn't you, with Casting Views?
Aye, I did the Black Museum. That was the one when they're in the desert.
Yeah, I remember it well, yeah.
The lines, it was good. A good episode.
Yeah. So we've done that. There's actually one Black Mirror episode I've not seen. I think it was the final episode of season 6, so I'll need to go back and check that out at some point. But sometimes people talk about it and be like, yeah, this one's really good, and these ones aren't very good. And see, if you haven't watched them, it kind of puts you off going back to watch them.
Aye. I can't remember the last season, to be honest with you.
I remember the one I remember the one Loch Henry, which was set near where I live.
Oh, aye, so it was.
And there's the one Joanna's Awful, the one about the streaming service.
Aye, Joan is Awful.
Yeah, which has some links to this as well. So
yeah.
So I've obviously been interested in the show for a while. So just before we get into it properly, just to let you know where you can follow us. So we're on X, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Facebook, both our Facebook page and our community page. So search us up and give us a wee follow or a like. You can also watch us on... The button's not working. Yep, you can watch us on YouTube. You can also watch us on Spotify, and you can listen to us on a range of different platforms. It's been quite a successful week. Now that we're getting back into the game, I've decided to take the plunge and start doing some YouTube shorts. So I started out by giving a wee shout out to Howdy Beans podcast, because they inspired me to go watch Charlie and the Chocolate. The Howdy Beans podcast, British Nerd, Luke, 26, Ginger, Books, Nostalgic Presenter. Sorry.
You're lagging again. You're glitching, aye.
Yeah, glitching again. Yeah, so I was talking about them, did a wee kind of preview for our Reservoir Dogs episode, and it went quite well. The most recent one got 1.6k views, which was crazy, and it's also led to 4 new subscribers, so we're up to 184. So we should be able to reach 200, I would hope, in the not too distant future.
Yeah, man, just need to keep on doing your wee shots, you know what I mean? I was
Can't
laughing.
promise I'll do it every day.
I was laughing. 'Cause the first one you did, that you were just kind of walking along the street and it was like the camera was right up your nose.
I know. I realised that, but you'll notice the second one I did, it was more straight on, and I also gave a few views of the countryside. So it's all, and also learned how to put captions on it. So it's all just about the learning process, isn't it?
Aye, and to be fair, if I'd done the shot, I don't think the captions would capture me properly. I would need to speak very slowly and less confusion.
If I enjoyed it, I'm not going to do it every day, but I'll do it when I've got something to say. And yep, I think it's 1,000 subscribers you need to start getting some ad revenue. So we're almost a fifth of the way there. So if we really get stuck in over the next wee while, you never know, one day.
Aye, never know, mate. Never know. Yeah, I quite fancy doing those kind of blind rankings. You need to show me how to do it.
I've got no idea how to do it. I did it on TikTok and absolutely failed, and Paul saw my failed attempt.
Aye, I need to go.
I didn't have a clue. If anybody knows how to do the blind rankings, let us know. Just want to mention also, we're part of the Podpack Collective, so Chat Tsunami, Howdy Beans, Casting Views, etc. Sorry, Two Girls, One News, Cup and Game Club Pod. I can't just not mention two of the groups. So make sure you give these guys a follow and support their podcast as well.
Follow.
So yeah, recent episodes we talked about Reservoir Dogs. Really enjoyed recording that one. We also did Mad Max and we did the TV show ranking. Those are the last three, but it feels like Mad Max and the TV one were ages ago because we had a wee bit of a gap, but never mind. So James, just before we get in, sorry,
that, no?
What was that?
I thought we did another one before that. Did we not?
No, I think it was Reservoir Dogs, Mad Max.
Oh, we did the accountant. We done the accountant as well.
Oh yes. Yeah, I'm talking nonsense. Yes, we did the accountant as well. Yeah. So accountant and Mad Max are not too far off 300 views each. So if you haven't checked them out, then give them a watch. So James, before we get into discussing the first episode of season 7 of Black Mirror, just wondering what you've been checking out this week in terms of movies and films.
Well, obviously I've checked out Black Mirror, season 7, episode 1. I watched the Titan, the submersible disaster thing. I was doing your challenge for you.
That was my challenge, yeah.
Did you watch it?
This isn't my segment. This is your segment.
Watched that. What else did I watch? I feel like I watched something else. Can't really remember now. Black Mirror, Titan submersible. I don't know. I just took a blank there. I don't know. That's the main thing. Anyway, I've been managed to sat and watched, pay attention to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a very quiet week the last time we spoke, but I've actually watched quite a few things this week, so quite excited to share. So I've been watching The White Lotus on Now TV, and I'm 2 episodes in, but I'm not really digging it, if I'm honest. Like, I've heard a few friends say it's excellent, and I kind of want to stick with it, and I might at least watch the first season, but it's just not quite clicking with me. But we'll see about that one.
I have heard it's weird.
Yeah, it's just not quite kind of clicking with me at the moment anyway. In terms of just a rewatch to have on in the background when I'm doing schoolwork, for example, I've been rewatching Ted Lasso just off the back of watching Shrinking because I just really enjoy the vibe of the show. As I mentioned, Howdy Beans inspired me to finally watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because I'd never seen the Johnny Depp version, and I was a wee bit unsure of it, but I actually grew to like it. And started watching a wee bit of The Cat in the Hat, which was also another episode that Howdy Beans recorded. Only watched like 20 minutes of it with some family, but didn't quite finish that. What else have I been watching? So yeah, kept you in suspense, but I did actually watch the Titan documentary, so I achieved my challenge, albeit a week late.
I know, I was thinking if you didn't watch it this week, it was going to be another yellow card, mate. Now we're doing the podcast next week.
It was interesting, certainly. It was interesting just to see how much controversy there was before the event in terms of all the court cases and all the warnings about testing the product and the refusal to do so.
I know. Even getting the Boeing involved and things like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting to see all the kind of the staff left and things just because of how unsafe it was and how much egomaniac the guy was.
He didn't come across very well, did he? Just the way people were talking about him.
I did like the Scottish guy though. Scottish guy, wasn't it?
You'd never. Oh, I could never have got. I felt claustrophobic watching him getting that thing.
I know it was very, very tight in space for sure. There's a kind of YouTuber as well. He was like meant to be going on it, and he kind of cheated death in a way, didn't he? At the end of it.
Yeah.
So he had one more kind of voyage, and then that was it. And he couldn't actually make it out that day, but he was in tears.
I remember that bit. Yeah. So I quite like having a kind of real world movie or documentary on the go, kind of one after the other. So I've started watching the hunt for Osama bin Laden one, the 9/11 documentary.
Aye.
So I've been watching a bit of that as well.
Is that on Netflix? I know.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, there's only 3 episodes, so if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking.
I do like 9/11 stuff to watch. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been watching. So I managed to catch quite a few things this week, obviously, as well as watching Black Mirror as well. You can tell it's the end of term.
Aye. Oh,
got a bit more.
I need to say to you as well, mate. There's a new series coming up of Expedition Bigfoot. That's getting released in August or September. This is September. I think it's September. So I'll be eyes peeled for that.
Get that in your planners, folks.
On Discovery Channel, I think. No, Discovery. Aye, Discovery Channel. Aye.
You and me, baby, me. Are the words?
What's that? Bloodhound Gang.
The Discovery Channel song. Right, let's get into the episode then. I'll just start with a wee overview. So the first episode is called Common People. The episode came in at 56 minutes. Its IMDb rating, although don't let this sway you when you're giving your own, was 8.1 with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 80%. The director was Ali Pankiv, possibly, and it was written by the show creator Charlie Brooker alongside Bisha Ali. The synopsis: when a medical emergency leaves school teacher Amanda fighting for her life. This is another school-related movie or show for us. We've done quite a few. Her desperate husband, Mike, signs her up to Rivermind, a high-tech service that will keep her alive. The cast is Chris O'Dowd as Mike, from such fame as the IT Crowd. You've got Rashida Jones, who plays Amanda. I recognise her, but I can't actually think where I recognise her from.
She's in The Office, the US version of The Office.
I think that might be it, because I did see that when I looked it up. But
she is also
something else.
I've not seen this, but she's in Parks and Recreation as well, I think.
I've not watched that. I've watched I watched quite a bit of The Office, and I've watched Arrested Development, which is the same kind of genre, but I've not actually watched Parks and Rec.
He's also written a few episodes of Black Mirror, I'm sure.
Yeah, she co-wrote Nosedive, which was the one with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Which was quite a good one. Also, you get Tracy Ellis Ross, who, is that right? That's Diana Ross's daughter? Did I get that right?
Oh, mate, I'm not sure.
And she plays Gaynor, which is the kind of Rivermind, the head of Rivermind. Apparently, Rashida and Tracy are old friends, so they really enjoy working together.
Interesting.
So, James, have you got any trivia on this episode just before we get into the main review?
Not going to lie, mate. No. I can go and get some, but don't you worry, mate. Don't you worry.
Nah,
did you not get any trivia? No.
No, I've got some. I do have some because I did my prep last night, so I was already pre-organized because I knew I was going to have a busy day.
Yeah,
Today,
the trivia that I did have is like Easter eggs that I'm going to kind of bring up anyway. Do you know what I mean? During the
right.
the
Do you
thing.
want to will we just leave it for now then and come back to the end?
Aye. Because I've got Easter eggs that are based on our trivia.
I did notice quite a few of them just myself without having to look them up, just with my knowledge of the previous episodes of the show. So, okay. Right, so let's just get into the review itself then.
Let's do it.
So you've got the couple, you've got Amanda, and you've got Mike, and they seem like quite a happy couple, you might say.
I think so, mate. I think it's anniversary, isn't it? The way it opens up.
Yeah, they enjoy each other's company. They're not too strapped for cash, even at the outset. And they always like going back to the same place where they got married. Which and what's that called, James?
It's the Juniper Lodge.
Right. That name rings a bell, doesn't it?
It's from your favourite kind of episode, San Junipero.
I don't know if it's my favourite episode, but it's the first episode I ever watched.
I'm pretty sure it was your number one, mate, when you ranked it.
Did I not put White Christmas?
Did you?
I'm pretty sure I did.
All right.
But that's by the by. So they go to the Juniper, and they've got a lot of memories of the place. They're really fond. It's just where they go. It's their thing. And when they're lying in bed, they obviously see the wee bit of chewing gum on the ceiling, which becomes important later in the film as well. So they get home from their night out, and you actually see that Amanda's starting to complain of a bit of a sore head, which is a bit of a giveaway if you've read the synopsis for the episode. And she's teaching her class. They seem to like teaching about bees quite a lot, don't they?
That brings us back to one of the episodes, man.
With
season 4 or something like that.
I remember that as well. It was, Hated in the Nation.
Hated in the Nation.
So
by the way, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Totally unrelated, mate. But I thought just you mentioned chewing gum there. What do you call chewing gum? Any slang for
it? Is this a trick question?
No, mate. No, so I call it a chingy.
A chingy.
And folk,
no, we don't use that one.
No, so I call it a chingy, right? And there's people who say like it's a chuddy or something like that.
Chuggy, not one?
Yeah, chuggy. I don't know.
That's the one that came to mind for me, but it sounded a bit wrong when I said it.
No, it's a chingy. Anyway, that's by the by. Sorry, it just came to my head there, man. Sorry, I digress.
Never heard that one. Yeah, so she's teaching about bees.
Aye.
Bees are cool, right? So the Hated in the Nation, I think, was there not like a decline in the bee population? So the government created like synthetic bees to replace them, but then they went rogue and started killing people. That's my vague recollection of that episode.
Aye.
Yeah, so she's teaching about that.
Aye.
You can see she's a good. Obviously, we're teachers. She seemed like a really great teacher. She had a really good rapport with the kids, and there was a girl who was getting made fun of because of having like kind of older shoes, and she managed to kind of big her up, and our colleague was also saying like, oh, you get great shoes, and that was obviously important for later. But you do see a wee bit of what's going on there, and she seems to really enjoy her job, pretty good at it.
I say so, mate. I think she's obviously a primary school teacher. She's very caring, kind of, quite happy. She's obviously like well respected, and she's obviously got a good rapport with the kids. You know what I mean? So Absolutely. Can I set the scene for what the job means to her?
Yeah, I think it's important to take stock of that at the start, because obviously as things start to unravel, it starts to have an impact on our job as well, which is a real shame. You also see Mike at work, and what is his job? It's like some kind of manual job. I can't
He's
remember
a welder,
what
I
he's
think.
actually doing. A welder.
Aye.
And there was it was interesting. See the scene where you see the dumb dummies video that his colleagues watching.
Aye.
See it before it became more relevant to the plot. I couldn't help thinking, like, why are they focusing in on this co-worker? Why are they showing us what he's watching? Like, why is that relevant? Did you think it would come up again later, or did you feel similar to me?
I don't know, mate. I didn't think it would probably come up later on, mate. I just thought maybe he was just a kind of a co-worker that was just up to no good. Do you know what I mean? He's just the kind of lazy co-workers you get. Do you know what I mean?
He didn't seem like the best of guys, did he? Quite lazy, bit of a wind-up merchant.
He was talking about, obviously, like with the day in that site and stuff like that, and he was obviously kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen later on about the drinking the PP.
Yep. So Amanda is back at her teaching job, and you can see her kind of looking. She's kind of looking into like the projector light, isn't she? And then she suddenly just collapses, and next thing you know, Mike's getting the alert that something's happened and needs to go to the hospital right away, and it all happens like really quickly. He finds out that she's not likely to make it, and then all of a sudden they've got this solution where there's a company called Rivermind. And it's funny because when Paul was mentioning Rivermind, when he was talking about us doing some shorts in the form of ads, I hadn't actually watched the episode yet, so when he mentioned Rivermind, I wasn't actually sure what he meant.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah.
Remember. But see, regarding the headaches as well, I think she had a headache in the house as well before.
Yeah.
It kind of came quite kind of.
So it was foreshadowed, yeah.
Often, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So he's introduced to Gaynor, who's the head of. Or, you assume she's the head of Rivermind, or is she just like the rep? I wasn't quite sure what her position was.
Well,
she's just their advisor. Their kind of
maybe like consultant type person. We don't see MD else, do we? Though. So
no.
it's kinda...
There's only like three or four cast in this episode. It's really just those three plus the co-worker.
Aye. I meant to say as well, by the way, like a Easter egg. See when they went to the Juniper Hotel and they had the people on the stage.
Aye.
Did you know was it the song they were singing?
Well, I didn't at the time, but I knew there was a song that recurred multiple times across different episodes.
It's like getting anyone kind of song.
Yeah, because it was also in Crocodile, and it was in.
It's in Hunters.
15 Million Merits, the one with the guy from Get Out.
That's the kind of the first one. I think it was.
Yeah.
Aye.
No, I like how like Black Mirror has those wee recurring gags across the show.
Yeah.
Makes it feel a lot more connected.
To go back to your, I think there's only maybe 3 or 4 cast members. Do you know what I mean in the actual show? But it's, I quite like it that way. Do you know what I mean? I think it's quite kind of close knitted. It's I did enjoy it for that.
Another episode that was similar to that in terms of the lack of cast was Never Be Right Back with Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah, that's right.
And
White Christmas as well.
Peggy Carter. Yeah. I feel like that works quite well with Black Mirror anyway. So he's speaking to the rep, and it turns out she's got a tumor in her brain, and they can basically take it out and replace it with like synthetic material, but then she's essentially hooked up to a mainframe that essentially keeps her alive. And then you find out a wee bit more about it. Like they're restricted in terms of how far they can go, but they talk about how there's like kind of growth, like the business is planning like future growth in terms of like reach.
Yeah. See as well, see when like Gaynor actually pitched the idea to them, I got Black Museum vibes from it. Like I remember the kind of the guy who was showing them around the museum, all these kind of artifacts. I kind of got that vibe that she was like selling them something and telling them what, you know what I mean? Like it was such a high tech piece of equipment. I thought it was going to go down that road as well, like, but it didn't obviously. But it was just kind of put me in that kind of mindset of, oh, that's kind of similar to the Black Museum. But it's like she was kind of pitching all these kind of ideas to her and the kind of the packages that she could get. Because obviously the brain tumor that she had was, you know, inoperable, so we couldn't really, and it was. I mean, it's quite expensive, isn't it?
It wasn't because the actual operation was free.
Yeah, hidden costs.
It does kind of remind you of like, see, like when you take out like a free trial of like Amazon Prime or any app really, but then there's always that wee bit at the bottom. It's like it becomes $5.99 after however many months. That's probably your first hint at what's going to go on and what the theme of the episode is.
True.
And then, yeah, you're right. It is quite expensive. How much extra was it a month? Can you remember?
It was £300 a month initially.
£300, and they thought that they could achieve that. They would have to maybe have less takeaways, maybe just go to the pub less. But they felt that was achievable. Although Mike had to then take on a lot of overtime, and he was kind of alone in that because Amanda, as a result of the surgery, was going to need a lot more sleep.
Aye, I mean,
than she normally would have.
Initially, as well, when they got told it's £300 or $100 a month, there was quite a few caveats. It was like the coverage area.
Yeah,
so you can't go past a certain distance. Can't get to the coverage area. Almost you're like a mobile phone, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like you can't. You go out in the sticks, you don't get a signal. So you're like it's kind of like that.
And it starts out with the extra sleeping and the lack of travel capabilities. She seems pretty much herself. Like if you think back to Be Right Back, when he came back as like a robot, he was like totally different. He looked the same, but was totally different. Whereas Amanda was pretty there at the start on the whole. And they had quite casual conversations in the car and in the house. And it isn't until they go to the Juniper that all of a sudden she starts to change and go a bit odd in the car.
Aye, and just to touch on what you said before as well, it's like there's a wee montage of like the overtime because a year had passed by that point because they're going back to the Juniper.
Because that's their anniversary again, yeah.
So you can see it in the calendar. It was like overtime. The burden's put on him. And what I liked about this as well, mate, like gradually as the years went on, because you're seeing this like throughout the calendar year of the AIM, is that you can see the toll it's taking on them. Like each kind of scene, you kind of see, Mike and Amanda's kind of face. It's like it's tired. It's, you know what I mean? It's like this is taking some toll on them. And obviously the overtime he's taking, and they do have a wee bit of ding dong in the car. You know what I mean? It's like I'm doing overtime. He's still digging her up. He knows she can't do anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's taking her to the Juniper Hotel for an anniversary, and then that's when he goes past the kind of the cut-off point, the coverage point. Yeah. And the camera pans out. We can see that because we can see that there's the sign for another town. And then she just loses consciousness, and he's all shaking himself. He turns back the car and all that. And the moment they go back into the zone, she wakes back up as if nothing happened.
Yeah, I think that bit was quite telegraphed, wasn't it? Like you knew that was as soon as they started talking about the the distances, you knew something like that was going to happen.
Aye, but
And
he did, he did say that he did check the map, and it did cover that area. But they go back. Don't stand on your toes here, mate. But they go back to the Rivermind consultant, and basically they've updated the plans, haven't they?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Does that? Aye. So there's different levels, isn't there? I actually made a note of them so I wouldn't forget. So the one they're on was the common, and that's obviously where the name of the episode comes from, common people. But they've introduced a plus version where you can travel further, and I think you can actually go abroad as well. But this is the first signs that Gainers lied to them, because they were meant to be rolling these out on the tier that they were on, but they kind of changed their strategy around that, and the big focus was on this plus tier, which obviously we'll learn more about another tier later on as well.
Yeah,
just feels that they're constantly moving the goalposts. But back to what you were saying about Mike, you're right. You do. You feel for the guy, don't you? He seems like a really loyal, hardworking guy, and he's really. It kind of reminds me. I don't know if you remember this episode of The Simpsons. It's when Lisa wanted a pony, and Homer started doing loads of overtime at the Quickie Mart. He gets so tired that he falls asleep in the automatic door, and it just keeps whacking him off the head. And Lisa takes pity, and it kind of reminded me of that. Just the kind of dad or husband, just kind of putting in all that extra work. And then we move on, and again you see Amanda back in the classroom, which is good. It shows she's able to continue doing the job that she seems to love. But when they're, again, back to talking about the bees, she all of a sudden just starts promoting, is it honey? She's talking about honey.
Honey Nugs.
Aye, Honey Nugs, that's right. And then she just starts all of a sudden doing an advert. And although it was really obvious, again, I felt really clued up. That I was like, oh, I know what's happening. Because it's like what they've done with Netflix as well, isn't it? Just in terms of you're having to pay to not have ads, and sometimes you need to do that on like online newspaper articles as well. So again, I'm not saying this was a downside to the episode. I just thought, again, it was pretty obvious right away. Even I clocked it that's what was happening there.
Yeah, you can see, but it's not as obvious to compare to the other ones we see, because it fitted into a conversation she was having. You could have seen the kids kind of like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? And then when they asked them about Honey Nugs, she didn't have a clue what she was talking about, because they didn't realise that she was in kind of commercial mode, if you want to call it that. But just to go back to what you're saying, mate, about the whole kind of taking a kind of swipe at Netflix and other streaming services, and even like you're talking about newspapers, get paywalls. You know what I mean? There's so many tiers nowadays that, we kind of have premium, we've got, plus or whatever. Like, there's always a better package out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I kind of, it's quite funny that people would pay to get the premium, and you get less with like Netflix. I've got adverts now, like you were saying. Do you know what I mean? And then Amazon Prime is shocking for it.
I hate Amazon Prime. It's just awful looking. I like my streaming services nice and sleek and minimalist in design.
Well, Amazon Prime, I watched Accountant 2 in Amazon Prime, and it's got a bloody adverts like at start and during the middle of it, and like, what's that about? But you have to pay extra to get it, like to get my way. It's like,
ain't nobody get to. What I don't like about Amazon, and Apple TV does this as well, you've got all these movies, but most of them you need to pay to rent. And it's like, you're already paying your subscription. You should be able to watch more than what you can watch.
To be fair, mate, I only get Amazon Prime just for next day delivery. And even that, it doesn't do next day delivery. Like, there's only like certain items now that's next day delivery. Do you know what I mean? It's even that's a con.
I do like the free delivery though, right enough. Just out of interest, do you ever pay to not have ads?
I don't have ads on Netflix, so I've paid for that. But that was the why I paid for it, mate. I paid for the Netflix subscription to get it in more devices. So I've got it on my laptop, my TV, my phone. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got it in umpteen devices. So that's why I pay for it. It's not because I want rid of the ads. I just want it in my devices. So if I'm taking it away, mate, do you know what I mean? I've got it. What about yourself?
To be fair, well, they're not listening, but I piggyback off my dad's Netflix, so found out now.
Right, okay.
Well, he uses my Disney Plus, so so yeah, the ads becomes more problematic. She recommends that is it like a Christian council or Christian council camp or something to one of the boys.
Aye, wee boys.
She makes some interesting comments to Mike when they're in bed as well. And there's the worst one is when she like recommends shoes to the girl with the old shoes.
Aye.
Which
the night shoes. Aye.
And it starts to like get brought to the attention of like the head teacher. And she's basically told, isn't she, that if this continues, then she's not going to be able to work there.
Aye. It's sad that because obviously she lost her job and things, but you understand. There's been parental complaints about her, and I guess it's she can't control what she says, which is the thing. Because if she could, then she would be saying those things that she would obviously tailor it to the person that she's talking to. But she doesn't have that. Because I like this aspect of it, mate, because I've just spoke about commercials and adverts and tiers and things, subscriptions. This is kind of for me like an algorithm. Like, how many times do you go on like Instagram and whatever? You see there's an algorithm of like things you've liked and reels that you've seen before. If you go and look at a reel that many times or something similar, you're going to be recommended that. Where this advert is that she says to Mike when they're in bed, the wee girl with the shoes, the bees, it's all relevant to what they're talking about. You know what I mean, or what they're doing at the time. So I found that quite interesting as well.
Because Gaynor mentioned that as well later on. She said that it does only come up during the conversation. So they go back to speak to her and to see kind of what's going on. And she mentions that there's the whole ad tier and that you can pay extra for the plus service to avoid the ads. And I think is about £800 a month. Is that right?
Is it not the Lux version?
I thought it was.
They're on Plus already. The Plus, because what happened was that
no, because the Lux is the extra thing where you can like put your like Serenity up to.
Aye.
I don't think she needed that to get rid of the ads.
No, but I think what she did was that she went on to Plus and then they got the ads on Plus.
So is that what it was?
Aye, so basically when they went and complained about the ads, and he goes, "Oh, you must be why the the test versions, like you've been selected," and then she starts talking about how the tiers have shifted again. So like there's
they're always moving.
They're always moving. So the Plus has now get ads, and that's when she starts talking about the Lux and things like that. I think
you can also get the vouchers as well that
booster packs.
Let you use the app to dial your cheeriness up to 1,000.
Aye, I think Mike goes on to Dumb Dummies before they go in Lux, because there's a few scenes where I think he goes to try and kiss Amanda and he washes the glass and stuff like that, and it's like quite obvious he's been drinking his NP. Do you know what I mean?
So I would jump to a wee bit there. So you see the dumb dummies. That's hard to say. I said dumb dummies. Dumb dummies. You try it.
See that 3 times in a row.
Dumb dummies, dumb dummies, dumb dummies.
There you go.
So this becomes relevant again. He sees this as a way to meet the escalating costs of the service, and it's really sad, isn't it, to see a really good guy, just so desperate to help his family that he's resorting to this, and maybe and these kind of things will exist in the real world as well. Again, that's what's scary about it.
Well, I think they will, mate. Do you know what I mean? There'll be plenty of things in the dark web that'll exist. Do you know what I mean? And it is sad. Like, people are just. I was saying earlier on today, man. Like, social media is took a turn for the worse, man. So it is, and these websites and things that exist are just as obviously worse than that. And people will pay money to see people harm themselves. Do you know what I mean? Or just do stupid things. It's a sad state of affairs, mate. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? It's shit.
It's because he does increasingly more horrific things to himself as the episode goes on. But
and I'm happy to talk about it, mate. Like, obviously what happens, like, he drinks. I think it's hinted towards he drinks his own pee, his own urine. Because he goes to kiss a man, or Amanda goes to kiss him rather, he doesn't, he avoids it, and he washes the glass out. You can see the kind of remnants of the bottom of it. It's a kind of shade of what urine is, and then you've got the mouse trap in the tongue as well. There's a few things. The worst is yet to come, obviously. But aye.
So the worst does come, and he actually takes his mask off for that one.
Yes.
And then his photo gets naturally snapped, and his colleague, who was it Shane?
I think so.
He prints out, which I don't like that guy, man. Like, although it wasn't great what Mike was doing, despite the good intentions to raise money for his wife, the guy didn't go out. Like, he was watching it anyway. He was like part of the process, whether he was participating or not. And he prints out the photo and puts it up in the workplace. And Mike, who's been pretty mild mannered throughout the episode, he just snaps and shoves him, and he gets like kind of plowed by one of the machines. And I don't think he dies, but I think he has a very significant injury.
I think it's a big JCV runs it, like he kind of crushes him. And not that that's funny, folks, obviously, but it's just the way it happened. But I don't know, like, why do you think he took his mask off? Like, I think
he saw the opportunity to make a lot of money, and he knew about those gift cards that could really make his wife happy, and that's what he was doing. That's what I thought, anyway.
I get that, mate, but do you not think, like, he had to, obviously he wasn't thinking at the time, he had his wife ever at the forefront of his head, but he knows this guy Shane watches dum-dums, you know, all the time, right? He probably donates money for all we know. And he takes his mask off, and he's going to be there. He's going to know it right away, and his face is going to be plastered on the walls of his work. You know what I mean? It's going to be funny.
But I suppose it was just necessary for the plot, wasn't it, to keep things?
I know, I get that, but
they're getting worse in it.
I'm just trying to think of other ways. I mean, I guess he did like $400 it was to take his mask off, and at the time when he got that message on the thingy, by the way, which is a throwback to the very first episode, because the name on the thing said Snoutman, relating to the pig from the Prime Minister episode. Anyway,
and also my screen name Waldo was like the animated like
politician
election candidate. His name comes up on the kind of stream. Is it I Am Waldo or something?
Yeah, I Am Waldo.
I'm not actually Waldo, by the way, just in case.
As he got the message for the £400 on the screen, he got a message for Riverdale. Riverdale, is that the
Riverdale? That's a TV show.
Is that? What's it called?
Rivermind.
Riverdale.
Riverdale's a kind of teen like gang show.
Is that well, I've seen it. I don't even know why I said that. But he gets the message for Rivermind to say that he's fallen short of the payments this month. So I think in the hint of desperation, he's just went, no, I'll take the mask off and then get the money and pay Rivermind right away, and then that's it. But no thinking of the consequences.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because obviously gets sacked, obviously because he can't, basically attempted murder. I suppose it was an accident, wasn't it? Was it his fault? KCB ran over him. Manslaughter, aye. Anyway,
but yeah, so he loses his job, and his wife. They then can't afford to not have the ads, so his wife can't work as a teacher either. So they're in pretty dire straits.
Aye. That's it, because you can't control obviously when the ads come on, mate. So it's bad. It is bad times, man.
So I think at this point, flash forwards another year.
No, they go no. So what happens is because they're in dire straits, they basically go to Rivermind and basically say that we're loyal customers, man. You know what I mean, like going and give us a turn here, and that's where the Lux comes into play. She starts talking about Lux. And I found this bizarre, this whole kind of section.
So it was an app in your phone, and it was like you could dial up like Pleasure or Serenity. That was the ones they used. And like, because she herself, Gaynor, used it as well, didn't she, when she was getting stressed out? Was it like nonchalance or
nonchalant?
Aye. So
I found that bizarre, that though, because it's like it showed you a kind of advert of somebody else who's got Lux. And they were like turning it up on their phone to like they can basically learn anything like tennis and like the one they used parkour.
It's overpowered.
And I'm like, this is like the Matrix, man. Because like you plug the new one in the Matrix, he knows kung fu and karate and all that, and it's like, I can do all this. So I just found that really weird.
Seismic Cinema also reviewed the Matrix.
We did.
Insert a link in here somewhere.
I flash it on the screen.
Yeah.
Only check it out after you watch this.
So they can't afford the Lux. But Mike does save up quite a bit of money to basically gift it to Amanda as a present so that she can But no, they go back to the Juniper, don't they?
Aye.
And she uses it, but I think when Mike is there and he's seeing kind of what's happening to his wife, the impact the technology is having on her, again he spots the chewing gum and he starts to kind of miss their life pre the incident, which I think changes his perspective on things quite a lot.
Aye. It's it does change the perspective. It just changes the way the thought process is, isn't it? Like, I mean, they had that night. It was by all accounts, it was a great night for them both. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of seen what's coming here. I don't know if you did that. I kind of knew what was going to happen. But it flashed back. It kind of flashed forward to a year later. Yeah. As well, which I found interesting because it was their anniversary again, basically. And basically, for anniversary, you got a 12-hour. Was it 12 hours? I don't know if it's as long as that.
14, 12, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was long. For the last one, I think it was as long as 12 hours. But basically, had a conversation, mate, to say that she doesn't want to kind of live like this anymore, doesn't want to do it anymore. Which I find, I don't know, it was a Lux package you got, wasn't it? I get like the Lux booster.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, mate, if you notice it, she said, don't do it when I'm here, or do it when I'm not here, which means that the adverts have moved into Lux as well now. You know what I mean? So even the adverts are moving through the tiers at rapid pace as well. So there must be another one somewhere.
The consumers can't keep up.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Reminds you a bit like the old, like, I used to have an Xbox 360 and you'd have all the different memberships, didn't you?
That's right.
Gold, silver, all these different things. The show really does get you thinking, doesn't it? And it's the second episode recently after the Joan or Joanne, whatever her name is awful, because that one was all about the streaming services, wasn't it? And
Aye.
how that like kind of copy people's life stories and things like that.
My life played out. Life kind of played out live type thing as a show. Aye.
And then there's a really, obviously, he kind of fulfills her wishes, which is a really tough scene to watch. I thought, because Chris O'Dowd is known for his comedy, isn't he? He's like sitcoms, but I thought he gave a really good, heartfelt, like really sad performance in this show.
No, it was good, mate. It was good. I also know for the IT Crowd. I watched IT Crowd years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant. Loved it, man. It was just, you
Because
know.
when I saw his name on the list for this episode, I was a bit like, does he fit the Black Mirror vibe? But it shows the guy's got some range.
Aye. Yes, they have, mate. But this bit here, and like what we see as well, it goes to a year later. We see Mike open the door again, brilliantly. Like the whole thing, he looks at a shadow of former self. Do you know what I mean? He's totally drained. You can see it in his face. Even like Amanda's sleeping as well. Like hers, they're both.
No, should mention her sleep gets more and more and more. Aye. The more they move through the tiers, the more they move through the show.
Exactly, and even like exactly, mate. It's again, as you say, consumer. But he opens the door. He gets a ring at the doorbell, and it's somebody that by the cot, by the crib, and so he's like, "I'll get the crib for you." Goes and gets it, and he goes, "Oh, congratulations, having a baby." He goes, "It's no for the baby." So what do you want it for? We're going to set it on fire for a music video. And he just smiles, but at this point you see his smile and he's got a tooth missing. So you can see the extent of what he's gone through, again, just to try and raise money for Amanda to basically extend her life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my bad. I totally forgot about the plot line about them trying to conceive, because that's actually quite important, I suppose. That's my bad, because that's probably one of the reasons why they keep going to the Juniper as well.
Aye.
Is that they're hoping for, was it a happy accident, they kept saying?
I think so, that's right, aye.
So yeah, my bad.
No, sorry.
My bad for not including that bit.
When they went back to the Rivermind as well, they just kind of say like after cuff, we need to eat into the baby fund. And he's like, "Wait a minute, a baby fund?" He's like, "No, you can't be having that. That's $90 more a month." So everything that you're trying to think of doing, they're just adding more money onto it, man. It's a sad state of affairs, man. So the operation, even though it cost any money, all the hidden costs thereafter, man, they know they're going to get them.
It's scary. That's Black Mirror's big appeal, isn't it? It's scary because it's so close to reality, just with a twist.
Aye.
But hats off to the writers, because it's pretty genius, a lot of the storylines they've come up with. Like, it's been a while since I've actually watched any Black Mirror, but I felt like this episode was a bit more on the quality level of the earlier seasons. I don't think this would have looked. I don't think this would have looked out of place in like season 1, 2, 3.
No. Can we touch on the ending?
Yeah.
Because that, like, again, it's kind of left ambiguous, isn't it? I mean, obviously, like, he kills Amanda because that's what she wanted. She didn't want to live life anymore, so he kind of smothers her with a pillow when she's going through the advert, and then Mike goes into the wee room that he used for dummies, and he's shuts the door quite kind of shady looking, but he's got a box cutter in his hand. So I found it quite ambiguous, this, so we don't really know. He didn't say nothing, so we don't really know if he's going to go and kill himself, or is he addicted to, that's what I thought anyway, is he addicted to dummies that he's going to hurt himself? Like, I don't know.
I thought, I'm not going to say he enjoyed using the service, but I think he maybe did become a wee bit addicted to it as time went on, and maybe that was a reason why he did increasingly more obscene things.
Aye. It certainly raises a few questions because maybe he did, want to kill himself because he like Amanda, and it would be kind of fitting for them for that to happen.
Yeah.
But again, like, is there another kind of darker side that he enjoys hurting himself to please other people? I don't know.
Such a bleak show, isn't it?
I know, man. But again, I like these.
Gets you thinking, though. Gets you thinking. Certainly. So that brings the episode to a close. So the plan is every second week we're going to do an episode from season 7 of Black Mirror. So hopefully do quite well. I know it's got quite a big fan base. So James, you're going to be doing in 2 weeks' time. You're going to be hosting, I'm assuming, the second episode.
Yeah, I'll do that, mate. Absolutely.
Do you remember what the second episode is called? This isn't a quiz. I just can't remember myself.
Actually, I had it on Netflix earlier on. Betty something like that.
No, I don't think that's the second one. Or maybe actually. Yeah, Betty Noir.
Betty Noir. Nah, I thought it was something.
Which is actually, so there's actually references to, is it Hotel Reverie and Betty Noir in this episode? But there's also references to common people in the other episodes, so it'll be quite interesting when we're working our way through the season that we can connect the dots.
Yeah, like I say, I've not seen any of the new season, so I'm watching it for the first time as we review it. So that's quite a thing for me.
And if this is really successful, we could maybe go back and do some of the older seasons.
It's good, mate. Aye.
Not to step on Casting View's shoes, you did it first and way better than us. So,
aye, absolutely. It's not as if you have done a few Black Mirrors before, I guess. So
yeah, that's true. And so, Seismic Stars. So, if you're new to the channel, we like to give our Seismic Stars out. So, it's our rating between 1 and 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And we're not comparing it to other episodes of Black Mirror or other TV shows, just this episode on its own merits. So, James, what would you give Common People out of 10?
Common People, wee bit of pulp. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, mate. I like what you said. It kind of reverts back to earlier episodes. Like, I'm not really sure about the new seasons, mate, to be honest with you, because I think the higher the budget they've got like big actors in it now, and
enough said about Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, like big actors in it now, but the quality is not really there. Do you know what I mean? Like back was on like season 1, Channel 4, and whatever. But this kind of goes back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's really dark elements to it. I thought the acting with both Rashida Jones, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Chris O'Dowd were fantastic. And not to mention as well the River Mind consultant as well. Can't remember her name now. Gaynor.
Yeah.
Who plays her, Diana Ross's daughter, did you say?
Her name is Tracy Ellis Ross.
Aye. I mean, all three were really good, mate. Do you know what I mean? Great acting, great storyline, good plot, dark parts, ambiguous ending. Sad parts as well, obviously. It just felt like a real good Black Mirror episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to get 8 out of 10, mate. Aye.
So I had 8 written down as well. Potentially tempted to go higher on reflection. I think I'll keep it at 8. I felt like some of the bits were quite obvious what was going to happen, like because they were really set up before with the not being able to go certain distances and the stuff with the ads. Although it's really clever though, like how they come up with this stuff. Like, do you ever sit there and think, "Oh, I could come up with a Black Mirror episode," and then you've got like the most basic of concepts, but then in reality you couldn't. These people are like top quality, you know.
Charlie Brooker is second to none. The way he's writing, man.
That's why we review the episodes and they write them, eh?
Exactly.
They set it up and we knock them out the park, right? So yeah, Seismic supporters. So we like to engage. We didn't get a lot of engagement on this one, so hopefully as the sequence goes on, we did get one.
I did put
reply.
it in Facebook.
Yeah.
As well, mate.
I know. I saw we didn't get anything, but we did get a message from Chatsunami, one of the Podpack Collective, just like he agreed with us. He said it felt like the old Black Mirror pre-Netflix days, and was so bloody brutal to watch. While I doubt readers hope that it would never happen, it's not far off how people look down on others of the same class because they're desperate. Not to mention the whole company's overloading. I can't read the rest of the message because I screenshot it. There's a show more part to the message, but I can't get it. Yes.
Professional podcast. That's it.
I should have worked that out before, but yep. Thank you, Satsu, for your comment and for engaging with the channel. So, just before we wrap up,
can I just say, Colin, Chatsunami knows all about your unprofessionalism since you're the one that slammed the Spider-Man phone on the laptop.
I don't even remember where I got this, to be honest. I don't remember buying it, so I don't know how I ended up with it.
Was that what fell on your laptop?
Yeah. I was trying to show you it, and then I just dropped. My phone was on top of it, and then it smashed the screen. So yeah, that was good. So you're going to take the lead with. So how I thought, I basically host. So I hosted this one. I thought if I host the next movie and then you do the next Black Mirror movie, so we're doing like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
2 off. Just while we're doing Black Mirror.
Aye, that's fine with me. Mate.
So I've picked out 3 film suggestions. Just patching the ones before. I'm going a bit more serious this time.
Synopsis again, aye.
I can do that, yeah.
I like that wee segment.
I'll need to remember it for the future though, so I can.
I need to do a wee bit of alliteration, or some synopsis or whatever.
So okay, here we go. So we're going to give 3 options, which will go out on the polls. So, in order to escape the prison labor, a prisoner fakes insanity and is shifted to the special ward for the mentally unstable. In this ward, he must rise up against a cruel nurse.
Is that Stephen King?
Yeah, I don't think so. I've actually got it on DVD and I've never watched it, so it's a good opportunity to watch it.
Is it One Flew the Cuckoo's Nest?
It is, yeah.
Aye.
As I said, I've got it on DVD, but I've never actually watched it.
Jack Nicholson, good film, mate.
So next one is a psychopathic delinquent is imprisoned for murder and rape. In order to reduce his sentence, he volunteers for an experimental therapy conducted by the government, but it goes askew.
Oh, I don't know that one.
A Clockwork Orange.
Ah, yes. I should have got that one.
And the last one.
You've got any classic ones?
Yeah, I've been trying. I feel like that's the gaps I want to fill the most, is like the classic ones that everyone says you should have watched. I feel like that's where I'm going with it. So an executive producer organizes a reality show based on the life of an ordinary man. But the character is unaware of the fact that Truman Show, yeah. Slightly different vibe for the last one, but
cool, mate. I've seen all 3. I've not seen the Clockwork Orange for Yonks, man.
Yeah, I've not very on brand, not seen any of them, so
yeah,
it's an opportunity to watch one.
Cool.
So we'll see what the public decides then. Okay, so we'll just start wrapping up. So we are Seismic Cinema. You can follow us on all the different social media platforms. So consider searching us up and giving us a like or a follow. You can check us out on YouTube, Spotify for Creators, and all those other platforms. We are at 184 subscribers. We would absolutely love to get to 200. So if you've enjoyed this episode of Black Mirror, please consider liking, leaving a comment, and subscribing. And also check out our reviews to come of Black Mirror, and why not also go back and check out our ranking of our favorite episodes. And if you're even more keen, you could check out our guest spots on Casting Views, which I'm sure he would appreciate. And finally, you can check out Casting Views amongst other podcasters on the Podpack Collective. So give them a search on social media and give them a follow. Okay, so this was our review of Common People, Black Mirror Season 7, Episode 1. I'm Colin. I've usually not seen it. Paul, our editor, has watched it in the wrong order. And James?
I have probably written an essay on it.